Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 289, version 2.0. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just curious about this 2.0 business.
Dude, I messed up so big this week, it's ridiculous. So, number one, forgot to message you and Matt P. That's number one. Just totally forgot. I have had such a busy week. Just forgot to message you and be like, oh, can we record this day? Or can we record that day? Or can we record at this time? Nothing. Just totally forgot. That was number one problem. Number two problem is me and Matt P decide, all right, well, I decide, we're just going to record whenever Matt can do it. Just so we've got a show. It's done. Perfect. We sit down. I get the show notes. I do the show. Hour and 6 minutes, I think it was. Some great conversation. Great conversation. Go to edit it. RTX voice is like, nah, bruh, you're a robot. Just me. I'm a robot. So I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then I was like, you know what? I'll find someone to do another episode if I need them, blah, 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 blah. You were like, yeah, I can do it today. So here we are, version 2.0. So you're not dead. On the last episode that no one's going to hear, you were dead. You died. Obviously, Matt P was back alive. He was like, but once again, Matt's now dead again, unfortunately. And it's all my fault. It's the truth. It's all my fault.
Damn, you killed Matt. Can't believe it.
Kept you alive though, you know? You're welcome.
Did you keep me alive or did I happen to be alive? And you're like, well, don't need Matt now.
You stumbled.
That's how it is in my head,
right
whether
area.
it's not or not.
You just stumbled in the right area, is the truth of it. Like, you were just walking down the street and I was like, hey, you, come with me. You're on this podcast this week. And you're like, all right, sure, why not? Crazy man, why not? If you didn't know, My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast right here on youtube.com/MyXboxandMe and all podcast services, obviously iTunes, Spotify, all of that. Google, I said this last time, I'll say it again. Google asked me to re-verify us. So I have done that, but if it doesn't show up on Google and you're watching this on a different platform, let me know, because that would help me a lot. But I did re-verify it, so it should all be working and stuff like that. Patreon producers this week, of course, is the one and only Aaron Guard, supporting, showing his love, FNH Paul, and our tribesman. Thank you very much, everyone, for the support. Before we get into the show, Crash, how are you? How you been?
I'm doing good. I can't complain,
We haven't played games together in like
we haven't.
a long time.
That's very true.
Like, we sit down and podcast,
and you don't want to play with me.
That's not true. You're such a liar. That's
true.
Not true.
Fix hit me up, and I was like, yo, you want to play some Outriders? And Fix is like, with you? Who do you think you are to play with me? No.
Have you not seen? I've got a CNN underscore article. Who do you think you are, son? I'm big time now, apparently. Like, that's what people think. I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy.
I thought I was working towards a dinner date. Apparently, I was just working towards playing games with Fix again.
Exactly. There's no date happening between me and you, son. Let me tell you. No
That's
way.
what you think.
This has been your ruse all along. I feel weird at the moment when it comes to games. Like, Outriders is that, I'm happy. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm still waiting. You know?
I don't think there's been that like game that everybody's gotten like
hype
sucked into.
I thought it was going to be Outriders. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of people playing Outriders.
Yeah. I think Outriders is the closest one. But there's still like a section of people who just don't care for Outriders.
Yeah, me and Shotgun were talking in my editor over on my main channel. And was like, all right, what games are we going to be covering? It's like, MLB The Show, which we'll talk about later on the show as well. It's like, that's coming out. I'm going to try that out. Resident Evil 8, obviously, coming out very, very soon. And then we sort of looking at like Pokemon Snap. It's just like, there's not much still. There's still not much out there. We're still waiting for like the big behemoth of a game. I watched, not matter to this audience, but I watched some gameplay for The Day Before. Did you see this one?
No,
it's an MMO zombie type game. I'm sure it'll make it to console at some point, but mainly PC focused. My type of game. It's a me type of game. Definitely.
It came out in early access recently, or it's coming out in early access.
It's coming out, I think, in early access.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, IGN did the review of that gameplay. I'm like, maybe I'll jump into that. I'm just in this weird period right now where I'm like, it's a thing. But I tell you what, may be a thing also, Grosh. Topic of the show this week. Hideo Kojima is reportedly in talks with Xbox over the publishing of his next game. This one was written by Games Radar and reads like this. Hideo Kojima is reportedly in talks with Xbox to publish his next game. According to a report from VirtualBeat, the Death Stranding and Metal Gear Solid developer is in talks with Microsoft about publishing his next game. According to a source familiar with the matter, the reports also suggest that potential deal has been in the works for several weeks already, stating that Xbox chief Phil Spencer deliberately featured a statue of Kojima Productions company mascot in the background of a recent stream as a hint towards the partnership crash. Did you see all this happening on the internet? Because a lot of fanboys were very upset.
I saw it happening. It's like, who cares about fanboys? They'll be mad about anything.
Okay.
I think this is kind of an interesting move on Microsoft's part. Do you think because the wording that's coming out from the leaker is it's publishing, do you think there's a possibility it's not an Xbox exclusive?
I mean, it's coming to PC, so I think that's where Xbox publishing is now. When Xbox are publishing a game, that means it may end up on Epic, it may end up on Steam, but it's going to be on Xbox, it's going to be in Game Pass, I think, maybe, kind of, sort of. And what happens... I don't think it necessarily means it's going to be on PlayStation, or definitely on Nintendo. But, go on.
I wonder what that means for the game if it doesn't end up on PlayStation, because we know for Death Stranding, they did use the Horizon engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious if they'd still be able to use that, or they'd be starting kind of from scratch now.
Well, so what I think is, I think they've probably already got their own engine. I think that was a case of Kojima starting a brand new company, needing money, first of all, which is the number one thing. Money and time. PlayStation were like, we'll give you money and we'll give you time. You can make whatever you want. They've done that now, and now we're moving on to whatever is next in Kojima's mind. I think a part of me is a little bit apprehensive about it, but a part of me is like, look, this is such a big move from Xbox again, if it's true. Whether the game is good or bad, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Absolutely.
Irrelevant if the game was good. But to get somebody who... I never really thought of it like it, but it does make sense why there's a PlayStation lineage there, you know? Like, the PS1 game, Metal Gear, and beyond, obviously, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, it makes sense. But some of those games did make it to Xbox. Like, eventually. Like, Metal Gear 2 did, so did... I don't think Metal Gear 3 actually did. There was a version of Metal Gear 2 that did... I can't remember what it was actually called. Substance, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Something along those lines. I remember playing it. But for me, it's like, okay, the story also reads about how this is going to focus... The reason they're doing this is to help focus and leverage the Japanese audience and talent out there, which I think that's what makes more sense about this. Wherever, if you get Kojima, everybody in Japan is going to look around and go, oh, we can start doing business with Xbox. Because it's that domino, right? It's like the one big one happens, and then it has a knock-on effect to everyone else going forward. And I think that's what's the bigger part of this. More than just a Kojima game that could really not be good. It could not be good. We just don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that this opens the door for people to look at it and be like, if it worked for Kojima, it could work for us. I am curious to see exactly if this does come out, like what type of game he decides to put out.
Well, hold your thought there. We've got one question that comes in, so let me bring it in, which says, Yo, Fix and the crew, what are your thoughts on the Kojima rumors? What kind of game would you like to see? The Broken Gamer. From the Broken Gamer. Thank you, Broken Gamer. Appreciate you. What type of game would you want?
I would want another Metal Gear Solid type of game.
That's exactly what I would want, which we're not getting.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I don't think so. I think it'll be... I wouldn't be surprised if it's a militaristic type of game. That does seem to be like Kojima's bag. He does seem to like to do that.
He also
but I would
horror.
imagine it's...
Silent Hill, PT.
Yeah. So That's very true. Oh, that would be really interesting if you were to do a Silent Hill type game.
Imagine, this is what could be real crazy. Imagine it is just Silent Hill. Xbox have managed to talk to Konami, to get the license back, got Kojima, and then be like, here you go, here's your baby back, go make it for us, please.
If anybody had the money to do it.
That's what it comes down to, right? It's surely that's where it comes down to. Like, as much as it just comes down to zeros at the end of a check at this point. I would still prefer. I don't really care about like PT and Silent Hill. Like generally, yeah, that's I love survival horror. You know how much I love survival horror, but I don't want an over convoluted survival horror game. Survival horror games, I'm playing through all the Resident Evil series, as most people know. And I have to even admit myself, playing through these games back to back to back to back. I'm playing 9 games back to back, and I'm like, some of these games just don't make much sense. Like, you have to dive in really deep to pull something out of some of these games. And with a Kojima game, though it could be really interesting, it could also be super colluded and convoluted. Thank you, and just all over the place. But a part of me still wants that though. It's a weird one where it's like, you know, the way PlayStation fans were getting excited about Death Stranding, and they were just absolutely everything that came out. I want that for us. I want that for Xbox gamers. Yeah. I want that every time a trailer comes out, we're like looking for this, that, and the other. We're putting these pieces together. And that's what you get with Kojima.
Yeah. Whether you feel like the end product he puts out is amazing or not, he is very good at putting together puzzle pieces that might not in the end fit perfectly or just might be a little wonky. Yeah, he's really, really good for that. Especially if you think back to the Metal Gear Solid 5, what he was doing with that, where it was like, is it even Metal Gear Solid 5? Mm-hmm. Who knows? So I do think that just from an outside perspective, not even like playing the game perspective, Kojima was a huge get for Xbox.
If it's true, we'll still say rumors. True. We'll still say rumors. Do you know what? That's the scary thing about this. I think it's true. You know, like, sometimes a rumor will come out, and I'm a little bit more. I am usually very apprehensive to talk about rumors, even though I have to change that just because YouTube SEO. I need to be feeding you guys what you want. You want to hear speculation? I've got to give it to you. So I'll change that. Don't you worry. But we know to look in the background now for Phil's hints, and there is no way on earth that wasn't put there on purpose. Whether the deal fell through, whether it didn't work out, whatever. But there is no way that statue is there not on purpose.
I absolutely agree. For sure. I remember when it came out and I was like, oh, Phil's just like busting people's chops. But now after this rumor,
well, I just thought we're getting Death Stranding. I thought that would be the way it was. I thought, because who published Death Stranding on PC? Wasn't Sony. I can't remember who it was. Oh, that's so annoying. I can't remember who it was. That's so frustrating. It was, I think it's the people that did Payday 2. Storm
505 Games.
505. It's the one who did Control, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So 505. I just thought 505 were publishing the game on Xbox. Whether it would have been just Xbox PC or Xbox console, that's all I thought it would be. But now that the talks and the rumors are coming out, it's got me excited. I would love to know what the My Xbox and Me audience thinks, so please email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com or tweet at us at mcfixer at CrashItPlays with the hashtag MXAM. I'm getting some questions come in every now and then, and it's just a question. I'm like, do you want me to respond to this on Twitter? Let me put the hashtag MXAM so I know that it's a question for the podcast, all right? So, yeah. It's exciting times, though, Crash. Exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I'm really interested to see what happens because there were a lot of Xbox people who sort of undersold Kojima back with Death Stranding. So I wonder if that changes now that a game is coming to Xbox. I'm sure it does to a degree, but I wonder how much it will sway because I do think there was a large part of Xbox that just sort of didn't care for Kojima.
I think it's a silent majority of people nowadays now. Like, there's a lot going on in the industry right now. right? With Game Pass being as big as it is, with a PlayStation, an old PlayStation exclusive going in there day one, with that obviously we didn't know this last time I did the episode, but now we know some of PlayStation's new focuses. With the conversation of them saying they only focus on big hitters, the rumor is they're remaking The Last of Us. Like, there is going to be a silent majority of people who were PlayStation diehards who are going to come over. They're not going to make a big deal about it. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to be shouting from the rooftops about it. But they are going to be the people that pick up Xbox Series S's. Series S's, sorry. They're going to be the people that silently play on the ecosystem. And they're going to go, man, this is kind of a better way to play games. And, oh, man, this is actually cheaper. And, oh, man, this is actually works out from the way my life works a little bit better. And those people are going to exist. Guaranteed. Like, I remember the reason I buy a PlayStation every year or every console life cycle is because I want those big AAA hits, right? There are people who gravitated towards PlayStation on the PS4 times for those indie games, which it looks like Xbox are grabbing and putting them in Game Pass for all intents and purposes. Like, do you really want to pay £15 for those games when you could pay £15 for the month, or even if it's on PC? Like, people are going to be gravitating towards this ecosystem now, and I'm really interested to see how it really does play out. Really, really am. Let's jump into Fix the Sack. We only got one question this week, which is, if Capcom were to remake Resident Evil 6 remake, what would you want it to be? And which character would you want? From Toplift91. Toplift, I'm not going to answer that on this podcast. If you want that question to be answered over on my main channel for Resident Evil Revisited, we will do it during our Resident Evil 6 episode. But my answer could be 20 minutes long, mate. So let's not do it. So if you want me to answer that, I will, but just not on this show. It just doesn't fit, right? Let's jump in. What's been in our box, Crash? What have you been playing, my dude?
I've played some Outriders.
So, well. I'm calling you out straight away. Because I go on Discord and I see Valorant.
Who plays Valorant?
You play Valorant. I've seen you. You're a liar.
I don't play Valorant.
You're a liar.
I've never played Valorant.
You're lying. I know you're lying. I saw you playing Valorant.
No, it can't be.
Crash, don't play with me.
I deny it.
Don't play with me.
I vehemently deny it.
We've got Outriders to play. We got Endgame to get to, and I see this bum ass playing Valorant.
We got Outriders to play. You're absolutely correct. You know the problem with having Outriders to play? Half the time I try and get into that game, it doesn't let me.
Yes, that problem. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you off then. Sure, why not? Okay. How far in are you roughly?
I'm in the snow spot right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you
somewhere
finding
in there? I'm liking it. I think a lot of the stuff last time we talked about it still applies, about like the items and how the gear works. I really like that.
Yeah.
I finally got to start messing with the crafting system, and absolutely agree with what you said last week. It feels like there's always something for me to do gear wise. Yep. Whether it's I found a green piece that's a higher power level, so I'm just going to upgrade that to a blue. And I really like the fact that you get to choose between one of 3 passives with it. Yep. Instead of it being like, here's a random passive, it gives you more viability for a lot of the gear you get. I really like that. I like the fact you can level up gear. I like how quick it is to dismantle stuff. You can highlight it. So like, I'll get rid of all my green gear, all my blue gear, all my white gear, and all that stuff. Auto-looting, fantastic.
It's a lot of those things that were quality of life fixes in most games. I know this is not a game as service, but games as service, which were already there. I think the leveling gear one is the big one, because that happens a lot where you find a gun that you like, and you like the abilities, you like the look of it, you like everything, and it's like, oh well, this is useless. I have to get rid of it. It's like, no, not in this game. It's just level it up. You can grind out materials to level it up. I find all that stuff super interesting and cool. Yeah, I hit endgame now. I got sherped through by a couple of friends. They just jumped in my game out of nowhere while I was streaming. I was like, this is dope. Literally, I went from like, well, I put my game down from, I was at World Tier 8, and I put it down to World Tier 3 just so I could mainline the story. I was just like, I want the story done so I can talk about it on the podcast and then I can get to endgame while streaming and stuff. And then Uncle Timmy and Minnie Midas jumped in my game at World Tier 3. I was like, I'm bumping this bad boy back up to 8. You can They're both level 30s, can do ridiculous amount of damage. It's like, let's go, boys. And they just ran me through like 7 or 8 missions to get to the end of the game. So I finished the game finally. I still stand by everything I said last time, which is, if you don't play this game don't play this game for its story. I don't think the story is very good. I don't think the voice acting's great. I don't think it's the most beautiful game in the world, but that doesn't take away from its charm and its interestingness of its gameplay, which is where this game is its most fun, even though comparing it to other games like this is not as good. But it does some things that, like, if you compared it to Gears, it's nowhere near as good as Gears in terms of its cover base. If you compared it to Destiny, it's not as clean and shooting as Destiny, right? If you compared it to Division, I think maybe it is better than Division in terms of its abilities, and I think that's where this game shines, right? Which is, the classes you play do feel good in terms of its abilities. Like, I'm obviously Trickster main, my Technomancer's my secondary at the moment, and I'm just like, yeah, I love playing the Trickster. I love blowing people up. I love putting the bubble over them, the slow-mo, the bullets flying past my face. Like, that all feels good every single time that I do it. And that's dope.
Yeah, I think the big thing this game nailed that I think a lot of the games you mentioned, Gears of War aside, because that's a completely, like, not in the same.
I meant just for the third person, the cover base. Yeah. That's all I meant.
Is that this game is just fun. And it's like, we're going to make the gameplay fun. We're going to make the abilities fun. We don't necessarily care if they're overpowered, which I have a thought on that I'll get to in a second. But they really let the player do what they want. And I think them allowing you to be as overpowered as you want is a good thing.
Yep.
I will say that I'm a little worried because I do know that they put out a Trickster nerf.
Did they really?
Yeah. Or they're putting one out. I'm pretty sure they already put it out. It's in the latest patch where the one gun, the one ability where you affect your bullets, they nerfed that ability.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit worried in the sense of, like, I think the perfect thing for this game is that they let you be as overpowered as possible. They don't really care about all that. So I kind of hope they don't get too nitty gritty with the balancing, because I do think a lot of games suffer from balancing, especially because there's no PvP or no really competitive.
There's no reason to not be overpowered. Like,
exactly.
If I want to be as powerful as I want, just let me. Like, that's I suppose the only thing you would say is, I guess you're gonna drive through a lot of the content very quickly, which is probably something they don't want. But I don't know. I can probably see it from both sides, really, where it's okay. So if they don't want you to be too overpowered, but they also want you to feel powerful enough that you are just destroying people as well. This game is super challenging solo as well. Like, I die in this game a lot. It's a lot more fun with people as well. After even people I wasn't communicating with, I wasn't talking to them via chat. We were just playing together. And it's just like, oh yeah, no, this game's a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. But I'm happy to help Sherpa people through. So hit me up on Discord if you're in my Discord. We've got an Outriders part there. At me, I can help people through now the story, which is what I wanted. I wanted to get to endgame so I can now run people to story, because people struggle to get to endgame in a lot of these games, right? But when you've got somebody that can pick you up when you go down and just those little things, it helps. It helps in a big way. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Why haven't you asked if I need to be Sherpa to fix?
Just because you're never on, you're never on when I'm on,
wow.
You're never about anymore.
That British time zone.
I mean, you fix your sleeping schedule, I try and break it. It's a lose situation.
That's not super far off, if we're being honest.
I know. Oh, I know. I'll be able to play at night one day. I swear. Anything else you've been playing?
No, that's it.
What about Valorant?
That's not on Xbox.
Oh, so you have been playing it?
That's not on Xbox.
I've been playing a little game called Resident Evil Versus. I say I've been playing. I played one match before the servers went kaput. So I really like. No. Stop.
I really liked Resident Evil Versus.
Let me not do that. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Nah. Is that the biggest compliment ever? No. Is it a terrible a terrible thing? No. So my thing is, Resident Evil Versus doesn't need to exist. Is the truth of the matter. But it's okay that it exists. I just think it's going to die within a month. Like, it was fun. I'm a Resident Evil nerd, so I like seeing the map be redesigned. Like, the police station's the only map you could play in the beta, which I like seeing what they've done to that. I like seeing the walls that have collapsed. So all of those parts of it, I really enjoy. The crux of the game is you pick a human character, Leon, Claire, Jill, Chris, or Ada, and when you die, you turn into one of the monsters. But while you're in your human form, you can run around and collect these capsules, which then allow you to be a more powerful monster when you die. So it's all about killing people, obviously killing your opponents, but there's this whole mechanic of like revenge kills. So your kill streak doesn't go if you kill the exact person that killed you. So there's a little bit more to it than just run around and kill everybody. Like, there is a strategy to it. It's like 8 people, and you all score, and you get points for each person that you kill, and things like that. It feels like Resident Evil shooting other human players. Like, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's okay. Like, it's not the worst thing that exists. I just don't want it to become... I don't like the fact that these games are always included with other Resident Evil games. Because, and especially at the same time, like you saw it with Project Resistance. I think Project Resistance would have got a lot more playtime from me and other people if it didn't come out the exact same time as Resident Evil 3. Like, even if we got it with Resident Evil 3, but it come out 2 months later or something, and I'm like, oh, it feels more like a new game. In a way of not an additional mode, right? Because Resident Evil games have had this before. We've had Mercenaries, we've had Versus in 5 and 6. Like, it's just weird that they've separated this out into a separate thing, but they put it out at the exact same time as the main game.
Do you think it would actually get more playtime?
Yeah, because it would be new. It would feel new. Because if you put it this way, so Project Resistance, right? You played Resident Evil 3, right? I think you did. Imagine...
I did not.
You didn't? Okay, well, let's say you did, hypothetically. So you bought Resident Evil 3, and you've beat that game. Done. You've done it, yeah?
Yep.
And then 2 months down the line, Project Resistance comes out, which then feels like a new game. Though it is, for all intents and purposes, it is a new game, but it comes with Resident Evil 3. So you don't have to buy it. It comes out, I'm then like, oh god, there's like me or whoever else is like, oh, there's a new Resident Evil game out. We should try it out. Like, that's more chance of me getting people in to play it. The problem that happens is, this comes out, this Versus mode comes out with Village, right? In 24 days or whatever it is. I'm going to be playing Village. I'm not going to think about this Versus mode. And by the time I get to the Versus mode, there's going to be no one playing it. Because nobody's going to care.
I don't know if I necessarily think them releasing it at a later date fixes the game's issue.
I don't know if it fixes it. I think it gives it a little bit more life because it feels newer. It feels fresher. It may bring that little bit more excitement. Everybody, for all intents and purposes, looked at this game and went, this looks like crap. Which, you can turn off the comic book filter, by the way, because I think that was our big thing. A lot of people, like, why does it look like this? You can turn it off. I turned it off when I played, which is obviously because Resident Evil looks nice. Resident Evil's a good-looking game. Like, why would you change that look? It doesn't need this weird comic book filter thing over the top of it. Like, no. So you can turn that off. I did turn it off when I played it. It was fine. It was fine. Like, the servers, I could only play one match because the servers balked and then they took the game off the store. But yeah, I don't know. It's a shame.
I think the purpose of them releasing it day and day is you have the highest player base for the Resident Evil game that day, like when it releases,
but
as opposed to like if you release it a month later, who's playing it a month later?
But who's
You'll go back, but I don't think most people would go back to play it a month later.
If it felt new, I think people would then go, oh, I've got this thing that is free with the game that I bought. Oh, I should try that out. It's now come out. But not to the same extent, obviously, but like GTA Online. Is it like yes? Like,
you're not making this argument fixed.
That sort of thing.
You're not making this argument. Yes, you are. You are. You're trying to say that you're not.
Level. I am saying that it would bring a little bit more hype to people to try it out because you already own it.
No, You can't. No,
I
won't
can.
let that one sit. No, you can't.
What do you
I won't
mean?
let that one sit.
What's wrong with that?
That is absolutely not a fair comparison to make.
I'm not saying to the same extent. I'm just saying
you want to know why that doesn't work?
GTA comes out, right? GTA comes out and GTA Online comes out at the same time, day and day, right? Nobody is jumping in, maybe before, but without the prior knowledge. A lot of people are not jumping into online first. They're jumping into the main story first. And going to spend a lot of time, 40, 50, 60 hours with that, right? Obviously, Resident Evil is a little bit different because it's not as long, right? But the same thing applies where it's like, you're going to finish the story, then you're going to get to that mode afterwards at some point. Imagine if it comes out afterwards and you already own it. It's not like you're buying it, you already have it.
You want to know why that wouldn't work? Well, what you're saying isn't a fair comparison, is because people will still jump to GTA Online, even if it comes day and day, a month or 2 months after they beat GTA. They will still jump into GTA Online. Okay. That will not happen with Resident Evil. It does not work that way. It's not a fair comparison.
I'm not saying the same. Look, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I've been playing that. It's fine. Okay. All right. Fine.
Would you buy it if it was a standalone game?
That's a stupid question. I own every single Resident Evil game.
Okay, but I'm not okay. For a second, let's
rephrase your question.
Open the door, walk out of the Resident Evil fanboy. Would you recommend people buy this game?
Well, it's not outside a separate game.
The Resident Evil fandom. Yeah, but I'm saying if you had to buy into it, do you think it would be worth buying into it from the one game you've played? This is my question.
Do you like Resident Evil?
No.
Then no, don't buy it.
What if I do like Resident Evil?
Do you like playing versus modes in Resident Evil games?
No.
Then don't buy it.
What if the answer is yes to that?
Then maybe try it.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
I haven't got much to go off here either. I've played one match. It's really hard it's really hard to give a full extensive opinion on one match.
Who did you play as?
I played as Claire. I couldn't get a game with Leon. I tried. Who was going to play? Is that a fake Chris Redfield? It's not even the updated Chris Redfield. Frustrating. It's the one for Resident Evil 7. The fake one.
Oh,
the hashtag not my Chris. That one.
Oh god.
What is this bullshit?
That's my Chris. I'll take over.
You'll play as him. Chris. You can play as him. Scrub, I hate you. All right, let's get into this week's dashboard and get ourselves out of here. It was MLB's decision to bring MLB The Show to Xbox, says PlayStation. So in case you missed this one, you're just living under a rock. MLB The Show, which is made by a PlayStation first-party studio, is coming to Xbox. We already knew that because the MLB company wanted it on multiple platforms. But they also made the decision to bring the game now to Game Pass. Now, Sony have come out and said that in an interview that it was all down to MLB's decision. They, for all intents and purposes, they have control over this game, which is wild to me. A PlayStation first party make the game. PlayStation can't control where it goes. So this to me means they were going to lose the license if they weren't willing to play ball.
Probably.
For all intents and purposes, right? Which is you can keep making the game, you can keep profiting off the game, you can keep paying us the licensing agreement of that, but this game needs to be bigger than what it is. Because putting it on this one platform where it sells, 1 million copies, let's say, isn't good enough. And it isn't good enough for the sport of baseball. Which is what I said last time, which for me it's baseball's already a dying sport. We know this. There are facts out there knowing that baseball is a dying sport. You need video games. You need all anything you can to bring people into the sport more. You need this. And I think them bringing it to Game Pass, there's an opportunity of 18 million plus people out there that might try out our game. We have to take that opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know how much good this will do the game. I think it's great for
I think it's going to do the game.
I think it's great for Xbox. I don't think so.
Why?
I don't think as many people care about baseball as you would think.
I think not as many people care about baseball as you think. I agree. I think people care about a baseball game, though, that we have notoriously heard. I have never played it. I've never played an MLB The Show, ever. but I have heard for years upon years upon years how great MLB The Show is. Now I have the opportunity to play it, not take away me being me, but like, you can play it for £1 if you've never had Game Pass before. Or if you've already got Game Pass, you're playing it for all intents and purposes for free. I'm using air quotes. Do not think it's free. It's not free. But for free. That's the way people's minds are. That's where people's minds are at. So that's maybe I've got to change my mind on this. And just sort of go with it. I've just got to go with it for free. I'm still going to put air quotes though. I don't do that bullshit. So yeah, for me, this is huge. Like, huge. Like, there's so many people who were going to buy this on PlayStation who now, they own an Xbox. Like, I'm not paying £70 for this. £70. $70, whatever it is. Like, no way. I'm going to play it on my Xbox. Like, even if I play it on my Xbox One, like, I can still play this. Like, I think it's crazy. I think they had to do this, though. If you look at EA have got every sports title in Xbox Game Pass. 2K bring NBA 2K into Game Pass. Like, they have to be where people are and where the players are. So they are. I think it's crazy. It's crazy, but I'm so excited. I can't wait to play the game. Can't wait to try it out.
Interesting.
You gonna play it?
No.
No? You play Football Manager, bro. Like, how do I know if you ain't gonna try this?
I don't. Let me tell you, like, Football Manager... Football is interesting. I'm not super into it. If it was on, I could like watch it, right?
Okay, yeah.
I couldn't watch MLB if somebody put a gun to my head.
I mean,
like, I couldn't sit down and watch it.
Someone put a gun to your head, you could. Pretty sure.
I guess I could. If you're right.
If you're gonna call me out on some GTA-ish, I'm about to call you out on everything.
Wait. Nah, you're not. This is an unfair comparison.
A gun to your head.
You went today in comparisons are just
your head.
It's a saying, Fix.
I don't do a sayings. I do.
You know what I meant by it.
Direct quotes, please, sir. I do not allow sayings in this.
I would never choose or willingly sit down to watch an MLB match. Does that work for you?
I agree. So let me tell you something. I agree. I wouldn't either. You know, like, people come over from England to America all the time, right? And they're like, "Oh yeah, we went to a Dodgers game, man." I don't know why they're not British all of a sudden. They've turned American. I don't know why. Don't worry about it. I'm like, bro, that sounds so boring. Ain't they like 7 hours long? Like, but a game, I'm fine with.
Have you ever played a baseball game?
I've never. Okay, so we don't play baseball over here. We play rounders.
I'm not talking about real life. I'm talking about a video game.
No. Well, yes. I played the cartoony one. There was Super Mega Baseball, which I have a Let's Play up on my channel. It was like when I first started doing YouTube, did like 1,000 views. I was like, I've made it. Let's go. So, yeah, and I love that. Baseball games are fun. Baseball games are fun.
Do you mean like backyard?
Like baseball? Backyard, RB. I think it's RBI.
I was talking about like a baseball game.
No, I've never. That's what I'm saying. I've never played one. Like, yeah,
I've played one. My mom went shopping once. She came home, copy of a baseball game. I put it in. I played it, and I was like, I never need to play a baseball game again. 9-year-old Crush decided that day he's never playing a baseball game again.
Knew. That day. Okay, you're gonna feel very left out when we're all out here playing baseball.
I think you're gonna feel left out being the one playing it.
Nope, you're wrong.
I think you're
You're wrong.
The one playing it.
All right,
We'll see.
We'll see. But we're big get nonetheless for Xbox.
Oh, absolutely, huge.
Let's go through the Xbox Game Pass games. We've got some new ones coming in and some returning. Starting off April 8th, GTA V is back. GTA 5 is back on console and cloud, which is a huge get. Zombie Army 4, Dead War, available April 8th as well. I played this game when it first came out last year. I had a lot of fun with it. Rebellion are a dope studio. They're the same team that does Sniper Elite as well. And this is a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried it, you should get this game, especially on Game Pass. Like, you and 4 people. I played it solo. Imagine playing it with 4 people. Would be a lot of fun. So definitely check it out. Disneyland Adventures coming April 8th as well. Rush, a Disney/Pixar adventure, April 8th. NHL 21, April 12th. Rain on Your Parade, April 15th. Pathway, April 15th. MLB The Show, April 20th. And also, Xbox have now enabled cloud touch controller for 50 games, such as Minecraft Dungeons, Sea of Thieves has it, Gears, Tell Me Why, Nightcall, a bunch of other titles. So now you don't even have to use the old controller grip anymore. You can just play games straight on your mobile, this has been the dream I've been waiting for, Crash.
To just touchscreen.
Touchscreen for, like, imagine now playing. There's a few games that I've missed out on. Like, I never got around to playing Michonne's Walking Dead. Like, imagine if that ever came. But I don't have to connect to control. I can just be in bed playing it with a pair of headphones. Tell me why. I said this before. I don't like this experience for games like Gears of War. I don't think it works. It's not. I need to play those type of games on my screen. But, the Michonne Walking Dead game's on there. Like, it's those type of games that I can experience on my phone, which, like, I'm terrible for, like, taking time for myself. But I'll sit on my phone, I'll lay in bed and watch TikTok for an hour and won't even think about it. Hopefully I can reduce my TikTok time, and now I can just play video games and not have to worry about, I've got to sync a controller, or I've got to get the grip thing. Like, I can just play some of these games. It's going to be dope. I just need it to come to iPhone, all right? I need it to come to iPhone.
Did you see Phil Spencer's tweet?
Soon.
Fix.
When soon, Crash?
Within the next year.
No, I need it now. Now.
I would be shocked if it doesn't come by the time E3 happens.
I don't think that's an E3 announcement, though.
I don't think it's an E3 announcement, but I think it's an E3 time drop.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, it happens in unison with E3, where, like, they announce games on Game Pass and Cloud and whatever, and they're like, afterwards, or they put out a tweet, or Phil Spencer puts out a tweet. By the way, it's available on iOS now, and here's the link for it.
Yeah, but how is it going to work? That's the one thing that worries me. You know, like Android? You're an Android guy, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, you're an Apple guy. You're an Apple guy. Who is an Android guy? Android people know what I'm talking about. It's just the ease of use. You click the app and it works. It's done. It's there. Like, am I going to have to go through Safari? Because I don't want to go through Safari.
I hope not.
That's what I'm saying.
I never opened Safari. I use Google Chrome.
I only open Safari for one specific thing, and I don't need to mention what that is, okay?
I have it's for the Resident Evil wiki pages, right?
Always. I love it. I love an important Resident Evil wiki, you know. Definitely love those. Next piece of news, Resident Evil Revisited. Matchmaking has been suspended due to matchmaking issues. The Capcom Dev 1 Twitter put out a tweet saying, regarding the Resident Evil Versus beta, as we are still seeing issues with RE versus OBT matchmaking service, we have decided that until further notice to temporarily suspend the OBT to resolve the problem. We will continue to investigate, and we apologize for any inconvenience caused. It did cause me inconvenience, Crash. It did.
Did it?
I was sat there for about an hour.
No way. You sat an hour waiting for Resident Evil
trying to get games.
Reverse?
Yeah. About an hour. Dude, I'm a Resident Evil fan.
I don't think you gave what's it called that much time.
What's that?
The one that came with Resident Evil 3.
Oh, Project Resistance? No, but the service worked with that. I played that game. Not much, but I played it. I streamed it for a while. I played the beta.
The first time you played it, me and you got on.
Yeah,
I remember me and you got on.
Yeah.
Me and you got on. We had struggles, and then we hopped off of it. Is what I remember. But it might have been because I was there.
I was gonna say, if I had someone sitting there waiting to play something, I'm not gonna be like, yo, we're sitting here for an hour. Like, no, they should play Warzone.
Fake Resident Evil fan. I'm just saying, a real Resident Evil fan would have been like, you wait in here with me.
Damn. Crash, you would have been
like,
yeah,
make me wait.
You literally would have been like, Crash, Fix, I'm hopping off. I'll chat you in a bit, and then you would have been gone.
I gotta go get food.
I was gonna say, food would have been the thing. Yes, exactly. Next up, Outriders Appreciation Pack will reward those hit by server issues. Crash, that's you. You're getting this.
Yeah.
After a launch filled with server issues, the developer of Outriders are rewarding any player who tried the game in the first 2 weeks a community appreciation pack. The developer says that they're working on a package, but the plan is to make the reward available for anyone who played Outriders between March 31st and April 11th. The gift includes a legendary weapon and an amount of titanium that matches the player's highest level character. In addition, players will receive a frustration emote. The emote may match some players' emotions felt during the launch. Happy, Crash? You getting this? Happy?
I actually like this. I like that they're like sort of taking the mickey out of themselves, as you guys would say.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, yeah, we messed up. Yeah, there were some issues. But, you know, here's some free stuff. Something that they absolutely didn't need to do.
I said this on version 1.0 podcast, and again, so first things first, I'm an Outriders ambassador, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Number one, I guess. Number two, people who send death threats and mean messages to community managers, developers, and things like that, if you are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, go away. I don't want you. I don't want you on. I don't want you around my content. I don't want you watching my content, listening to my content, or enjoying my content. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about that. I think it's disgusting that people do that, and I work with a lot of community managers, right, for what I do, and to know they've had to some people, not these ones specifically, but have seen psychiatrists and just therapists, and stuff like that. Like, no, like, we need to treat our community managers better than we do, and they take the brunt of the hit so much, and it's ridiculous, and I'm not about it one bit. So if you are someone that is doing that, please leave. I don't want you here. Number two, yep. Right? Number three, to play devil's advocate, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. This is not my feelings, but to put the question out there. When does the time come that people are allowed to be frustrated? Because I saw this going around on Twitter, right? Where I am definitely one of the people. I message the community managers, I message devs, I have all respect for these people. I know making video games is extremely hard, and they don't want this to happen just as much as it is happening, right? We are in agreement of that, and I respect everyone that makes video games. What I will say is, if you are somebody out there who has been looking forward to this game, and the game comes out and then doesn't work, when are people allowed to get upset? When are people allowed to show their frustration on Twitter? I'm not talking about death threats. I am not talking about bad language. I'm talking about just constructive criticism and just expressing their disappointment, their frustration. Like, I'm not saying it has to be at specific people, but I see people on their high horse like game people, like gamers are so entitled and gamers are so this and gamers are so that. I'm playing devil's advocate. But if you spent £60 to £70 on something, you kind of expect that thing to work. Especially considering you played a beta to help stress test. You were fine with the game being delayed because they were fixing things. Then the game comes out still, you've paid your hard-earned money, and it doesn't work. I do think there needs to be a conversation. I'm not saying I'm the person to have it, but I do think there needs to be a conversation had where, I'm not saying hold developers accountable or something like that, but there needs to be a conversation of, well, I spent my hard-earned money on this. I should be allowed to be a little bit pissed off about this, that, or whatever, right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I think being pissed off is fine. I think the problem and why so many people are like, people are entitled comes down to a lot of the people who are pissed off don't just voice their opinion. They aim that anger towards someone, and more often than not, it's a developer it's out of their control, or sometimes it's a community manager. You know, it's somebody who, even if they wanted to, even if they really tried their best, more than likely could not fix this, right?
Yeah.
With Outriders also, I do think there is even more validity towards somebody who might be angry that this happened or bothered that this happened, only because the game didn't need to always be online. The game doesn't benefit from it. the reason it happens is because anti-cheaters and DMCA, which are both understandable, but the game didn't need that to function. When you compare it to something like Destiny, where it's like there are open world areas where you run into people, I understand why you need to be online all the time. That didn't need to be with Outriders, so I kind of understand it more with this game. But at the same time, like, if you're frustrated, cool, be frustrated. Tweet about it, whatever. Just don't aim it at anybody, because like chances are the person you're aiming at it couldn't fix it. If they
even if they could fix it, they can't fix it in the matter of seconds of you tweeting them this horrible tweet. Which, again, if you're that person, be gone. I am not in the mood for it. I haven't got time for it. I will block you on Twitter. Like, don't come at me. I ain't got time for it no more. But I just want to have that conversation, because I do see some people in the industry, and again, we sit in our ivory towers of like, we get sent codes and we get sent these press packages and we get sent whatever, and we don't pay for our games, or we do our job, and that's what our job is, right? And we'll sit here like, our gamers, you're entitled, or gamers, you're this, or gamers, you're that. I still remember working at McDonald's and spending my last £60 on Gears of War. Now, if that game came out and didn't work, you're damn right I would have been upset. Whether I've taken time off of work, or whether I've set aside a weekend to play it, or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying we get into a point where like people can't say anything, and I'm not liking that at all. Like, I understand, again, the bad people, you're not welcome, and that's how I feel. But some people just get really on their high horse about some things. I'm just not about it. So I just wanted to put that out there, to be honest with you.
One last like counterpoint to what you're saying. I think we've gotten to a point where if your goal is like to play a game, and when you buy the game and you get into the game and you take time off, don't take time off the day it releases. Do it the week after or whatever, because there's a good chance that it might not work.
Which we know, but that doesn't make it right.
No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, the one where it's like I took time off is always a little bit
that was
confusing
just
to me,
another,
especially.
that's just another
but I see that one a lot.
I'm adding to it. Yeah.
I think with certain cases, it's like, it's just know when you're going to invest the time into the game, and it's not necessarily fair to you because it does have a release date and it does come out that day. But it also means that you should play around, like, knowing what happens with games when they release nowadays. Yeah, it is a modern gaming thing.
You should know that the game is going to launch with issues. You should know that. That doesn't make it right, though. Is all I'm saying. But we all know that it happens. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Next up, Outriders crossplay is now fully functional. But they are still working on a fix for the inventory wipe. Outriders crossplay is now fully functional. Inventory wipe fix and restore in the works. Outriders has confirmed that crossplay between PlayStation, Xbox, and PC is once again fully functional, and it has been confirmed that they are hard at work to resolve the inventory wipe bug that is plaguing many players, and that a restoration event is in the near future to bring back what was lost. Has this hit you, Gresh?
No.
Did you see this?
I wonder. I did not see this.
Oh, dude. People have put like 30, 40 hours grinding legendaries, like doing all this stuff, and then they've logged on and just everything's gone. Everything.
That's the benefit of having everything stored online and not locally. This is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder with the restoration, how would that work? Because do they roll back the clock? Because I wonder if they're having trouble actually giving people stuff back.
Well, I'm sure they are
keeping their progress.
Well, they're gonna roll it back and then be like, but all the stuff I just got playing for another 4 hours.
Or like for people who were playing and then they completed the store and it's like, oh, we're gonna give you your stuff back, but we're gonna roll you back about like a good amount of time so you can get it back.
This is why I'm not a game dev. This is why I'm an idiot on the internet talking about video games, you know? Like,
there's that's a very difficult problem depending on like how their system's set up. So good luck to the team fixing that.
Yeah, I'm happy that crossplay's fully come with PC now though, because that's something that I don't know why, but I thought this game had cross progression as well. Like I was really upset when I found out it didn't have cross progression. But yeah, we tried to play the other day with a PC player, and every time they logged in, it just crashed the game. Every single time. I was just like, dude, really? I'm sorry. I appreciate what you're trying to do. You're looking to grind. Let's do it. But I can't. I can't keep having this crash out. Like, it's too much. I'm sorry. But yeah. Moving on. IO Interactive is working on a new IP in addition to Hitman and James Bond. This one comes from Ryan McCaffrey, friend of the show, on his IGN Unfiltered series that if you haven't checked out, you definitely should. And the quote came saying this. We have 007 we're working on. We have Hitman we're working on. I should mention where we've been working on something else as well. Something completely new, a new IP. End quote. So this was taken from the CEO and co-founder Hakan Abrak. Apologies if I butchered your name there. I did butcher your name, I apologize. Kresh, how do you feel about this? Because I'm a little bit worried. Hitman right now is my game of the year. Hitman 3 is now is my game of the year. Fantastic game. Brilliant game. Loved every minute of it. But it's feeling a little bit telltale, where you have your successes, you go get an IP that's humongous. They need to hit that out of the park. Like that needs James Bond can go wrong in so many ways. Because I love IO, I love Hitman, but to do James Bond, they need to get a lot of things right. So they need to be focusing on that, not that. And whatever this new IP is, that's what worries me. Is it they've taken on too much? Where like when we knew they were working on Hitman, we're like, oh, IO Hitman. They're focusing everything into Hitman. They're making obviously the Hitman 1, 2, and 3, fantastic games, right? Now we're like they're working on James Bond, but they've also got this other project, and I'm a bit worried. Is all.
Devil's advocate. He says they're working on it. He says they have a new IP. He doesn't say how far along it is. It could be very much a case of like it's in the early stages. We're still like building a
prototyping.
Still deciding like what type of gameplay exactly we want. What's the story going to be? All this, that, and the third.
Yep.
Until we see IO's next game come out and it's poor, I wouldn't be worried about it. It is something to keep in the back of your mind, though. I don't really see it being that sort of case like the Telltale, because you have to remember Telltale, even when they started taking multiple games in the beginning, it wasn't that big of a problem. It was when they started taking too many and they were sort of had their hand in every single pot. They were in Marvel, they were in DC, they were doing stuff for Borderlands. Everything. They were everywhere. Yeah. Yep. So I don't think that might be a problem here. Granted, I do think that because the games that they will be working on are bigger, that they don't necessarily need to take on as many projects for it to be overwhelming for them. Because a lot of the Telltale games are like they're very similar, even though they're not the same thing, they are very similar. So
Fair enough. I'm just I'm excited for more IO games, obviously, but I'm waiting for that James Bond. That James Bond needs to be good, like really good. But
I'm actually looking forward to it.
Did you play Hitman 3?
The Hitman. I haven't played it yet. I still need to get around to that.
You need to play that. Trust me. Great game. That one mission, dude. That one mission. So good. Next up is a weird one, because it's funny. We had a really deep conversation about this on the first podcast before we had to re-record it. EA patents adaptive difficulty system that adjusts while you're playing the game to keep you playing the game longer, right? That was the headline from IGN. Since then, there's been an update, which I'm kind of happy about, which IGN now understands that recent published dynamic difficulty adjustment pattern from EA is not a new design, but in fact a resubmission of a pattern first filed in 2016. The new submission details the same system as the one filed in 2016, suggesting EA has not changed its software approach for dynamic difficulty system since the first filing, but simply wishes to maintain it. Recently, a class action lawsuit targeted EA with the accusation that the company was using dynamic difficulty adjustment to secretly change the difficulty of FIFA Ultimate Team in order to encourage players to spend more money. That lawsuit was eventually withdrawn after EA provided evidence this was not the case. Following this, EA issued a public statement saying, quote, We do not use any scripting or dynamic difficulty adjustments, DDA, or anything similar that would automatically adjust the difficulty of gameplay in FIFA, Madden, or NHL Ultimate Team matches. IGN also understands that that examples given in the patent documents are meant purely to illustrate the concept, but aren't seen as real-life use cases for the technology. Patents are often filed but left unused by developers looking into new technology. While examples used in the patent can be interpreted to mean EA intends to use dynamic difficulty to adjust players' behavior, the statement states that the system would not be used in any of our games for that purpose. Quote. While EA does not own a patent for DDA technology, that technology was never in FIFA, Madden, or NHL, and never will be. End quote. So, the reason why this is big is before we had that information, the quotes and the updates and things like that, the conversation was very much, could EA be using this to make more money in microtransactions? They have openly come out, provided evidence, and shown that isn't the case. But do we believe them?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why not to believe them with this.
Have you played FIFA?
No, but games
there
have
feels some
done
damn
similar stuff
scripting.
to this.
There feels some damn scripting in that damn game, let me tell you. The ball bounces in a weird way. The ball goes to a defender it shouldn't go to. A ball... it's weird.
Fix.
It's weird.
You know, you sound like the guy who something happens and he loses a game and he finds any excuse as to the reason he lost the game.
Dude,
other than himself.
Usually I would agree with you. Like, look, I do that in COD a lot. Like, it's usually my fault. The player's usually better. But do I sometimes shout out maybe he's a cheater? Maybe. Sometimes. Maybe. It's not true. It's just he's better. FIFA's sus, bro. Sus. I've been playing FIFA since 1994 or 5. Sus.
So question, is it in every mode that it's sus?
I don't play any other modes. I just care about one mode. It's sus.
So you're basing it off the one mode you play,
it's
not
sus.
knowing whether it works the same in every mode.
I'm telling
Got it. Yeah, we can't trust EA.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
I think they prefer the new old Chris.
EA prefer it?
Chris. Yeah. You know.
You're off your rocker on this one, dude. I knew it'd be a weird show, but you're off your rocker with this one. Games with Gold this month, April. Viking Werewolf Midgard, April 1st to April 30th. Truck Racing Championship, April 16th to May 15th. Dark Void, available April 1st to April 15th. And Hard Corps Uprising, April 16th to April 30th. Games with Gold are getting real bad, bro. Real bad.
Yeah.
Let's plug, and get ourselves out of here. What are you going to plug this week, Crash?
Twitch.tv/MCFixer.
Are you coming back? You ever coming back to streaming?
One day.
So, okay, here's the one for you, though, because we did get some feedback in the Discord channel about us possibly making more YouTube-y content. Are we going to do it? Can we commit that we're going to do it?
Yeah.
Damn, that face meant nothing to us, guys. He's a podcaster. He don't make no other content. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even play video games anymore. Like, what the hell? What was that face about?
Look, Fix? I had a laugh coming and I couldn't hold the face back.
Oh, okay.
I had to make the face. Yeah. we can make YouTube-y content, Fix.
Yeah?
Straight face.
I appreciate that. You can find me everywhere at MC Fixer, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch. I'm everywhere. As you may have seen, I'm starting to do more this week's dashboards, which is us just breaking down, doing smaller news pieces. It's pretty much off the cuff. Feedback on that would be nice. If you want them to be more scripted, highly edited, things like that, please do let me know, because I can do that. But I try and get them out more in a quick form than, highly edited,
I have a question.
Please. From the press book, Crash.
You said MC Fixer everywhere. When are we going to get the OnlyFans?
Until next week, I will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.